On 30 April 1945, before killing himself, Adolf Hitler and his mistress Eva Braun burnt all their documents, photos, everything. Hitler wanted nothing to be left behind. At that time, no one knew what happened in the bunker before Hitler's death. But now, after 70 years, a French officer, Commandant Raymond Rose, who no longer live in this world, and due to a private collector, some new political and personal documents of Hitler have emerged. These unique documents, which have now appeared for the first time, give Hitler a chance to understand the few important moments of his last days more clearly. How was the atmosphere in the bunker? Why did Hitler marry Eva Braun only 24 hours before his death? In the last 10 days of his life, which of Hitler's close associates betrayed him? When was the decision made in which he planned to kill himself? And most importantly, what was it that made the Allied forces know that this dead body was Hitler's? After Hitler's death, everyone was trying to see and understand the bunker. On 25 November 1945, Commandant Raymond Rose, who was a French officer, went inside the bunker. There were 26 stairs to go inside the bunker, which led to a dark room. There he saw a dark and dirty room, where scattered papers, upside down furniture, and candle wicks were laying everywhere. Rose found some documents that shed new light on Hitler's last days. These documents show that Hitler was adamant about his decision and he was looking for victory for himself even in his death. Just 10 days before Hitler's death, the dream of Nazi Germany, which was once seen to rule the world, had now become just a dream. Hitler's empire, which was once one of the most powerful empires in the world, and which had become the backbone of the Western powers, was now counting its last moments. Berlin, which was Hitler's dream and the center of power, had become a pile of rubble. There was devastation, fear and death everywhere. Allied forces bombs were raining everywhere and the Red Army was only 100 kilometers away. Hitler, who was about to become the target of his prey, was now hiding in the darkness of a bunker. A bunker that was built 7 meters below the ground near the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. It was not an ordinary bunker, but it was made very strong and bomb-proof according to the design of Albert Speer, Hitler's personal architect. It was built in 1936, but then in 1943 and 1944, after the Allied bombings became more dangerous, it was made even stronger. This bunker was called Führer Bunker in German. Führer means leader. That is the bunker of the leader. This was the bunker where Adolf Hitler, who dreamed of his government all over the world, was hiding. And this is where he spent the last days of his life. The atmosphere of the bunker was very depressed. Silence, thick concrete walls, cold and humid atmosphere, darkness serene. This bunker was like a maze, which had small corridors and rooms where you could feel suffocated. This bunker had a private space of 3 rooms for Hitler, one of which was a meeting room, where he held meeting twice a day for his military operations. Eva Braun, who was his mistress, had a small room and a shared bathroom for both of them. The atmosphere of this bunker was full of depression and fear because of being underground. There was a mechanical ventilation system for the air, which kept making noise all of them. This noise was not only a cause of physical discomfort, but also a mental torture for the people living here. In the last 10 days, Hitler was not only physically but also mentally broken. He had Parkinson's disease. To hide this disease, he often keep his opposite hand in his pocket or keep it in such a position that the other person could not know. In the last 10 days, his hand was constantly shaking and it was difficult for him to walk. Doctors said that in the last 10 days, Hitler's face was so white and tired that he looked 10 to 15 years older than his age. All the officers who met him in these days were shocked to see his deteriorating health condition. Even Hitler's personal doctor, Theodor Morel, who is present in the bunker, gave him glucose and vitamin injection every day. But all this was not enough to improve his health. Hitler's control over his hand was the biggest proof of his deteriorating morale. The daily routine in the bunker was extremely boring. Every morning there was a military meeting in which his generals would inform him about the situation in Berlin. The news of his loss of control over Berlin was frustrating Hitler. Hitler's nature included distrust. That is, he did not trust anyone easily. This was the reason that even in his last days, he was worried that his generals might deceive him. And in fact, something like this happened. In the last days, when everyone was thinking of running away from the bunker, Eva Braun supported Hitler. Eva Braun was Hitler's 13-year-old wife. They were not married, but she still lived in bunker with Hitler. Experts say that living with Hitler in the bunker was Eva Braun's stubbornness, and perhaps this was also the reason for Hitler's weakness. Eva was a romantic and emotional girl who wanted to live with Hitler till the end. Eva received some letters that she wrote to her friends. After reading these letters, Hitler and Eva's private life could be found. Eva's life purpose was to live with Hitler. In one of her letters, she wrote that this place is very scary, but I'm happy here because Hitler is with me. Eva's routine in the bunker was very limited. She often spent time in her room, arranged her photograph, or sometimes drank coffee with Hitler. But one thing that can be understood from her letter is that Eva Braun was feeling very lonely. This letter not only show Eva's love and loyalty, but also show her fear and loneliness. If we talk about the situation outside the bunker, Berlin was a battlefield in the last 10 days. Allied bombers were dropping bombs on Berlin every day and night. The Red Army, the military of the Soviet Union, was fighting Hitler's army on the border of Berlin, a few kilometers from the bunker. No doubt, Hitler's army had 900 tanks and about 500,000 German soldiers to protect Berlin at that time. But despite all this, Nazi Germany's forces were melting. Hitler, who had dreamed of ruling here for 1,000 years, was now looking like a bad failure. The people of Berlin were trying to save their lives by hiding under bunkers and roofs. But on the other hand, only Nazi propaganda and music could be heard on the radio. As soon as the Red Army's soldiers saw it, they defeated the German forces everywhere on the outskirts of Berlin. A German soldier said that when he returned to Berlin, it was difficult for him to recognize the city because there was a lot of Malva everywhere. This was the time when the German army also began to see the end of Hitler's leadership. A few days before Hitler's death, another drama unfolded. Hermann Göring, who was the chief of the German Air Force in the Nazi regime, expressed his intention that he wanted to gain power. Hermann Göring was a close companion of Hitler, whom Hitler had given different positions. In 1933, Hitler made him in charge of the Air Ministry. In 1935, he was the commander-in-chief of the German Air Force. In 1936, he was in charge of the 4-year plan, which was made to boost Germany's economy. And then in 1941, Hitler gave Hermann Göring the position of that is after Hitler, Göring had to take control. Göring believed that Hitler was trapped in Berlin and now he should take control of the leadership. He sent a telegram to Hitler in which he wrote that if Hitler could not take any more decisions, then he should officially transfer leadership. Seeing this telegram, Hitler, who was already quite depressed, became furious. He removed Göring from all positions and declared him a traitor and issued orders to arrest him. Later, Hermann Göring was arrested and sentenced to death, but he took his own life by taking poison just a few hours before his death. On the one hand, the Red Army was entering Berlin, and on the other hand, Hitler's close companion betrayed him. This whole environment was forcing Hitler to do everything he had never even thought of. It was April 29, 1945. Hitler called his people around him and said that the time had come. At 1 o'clock at night, he officially married his long-time mistress, Eva Braun. This marriage took place in front of 2 or 3 officers in the same bunker. After getting married, he called his secretary and asked her to write his will, in which Hitler's words were that I and my wife Eva have chosen death. Death is better than embarrassment of surrendering. Unfortunately, this marriage lasted only one day. On the afternoon of April 30, 1945, Hitler poisoned his dog named Blondie and went to Eva's room, exactly 24 hours after the wedding. The two ended their lives in the room. Hitler took his life with a pistol, while Eva took cyanide capsules and embraced death. The bunker staff already had instructions So they took their bodies to the courtyard and set them on fire. Hitler did not want to leave any marks behind him. Before his death, they burned their documents and photos, and in the end, they also ordered the silos to be burned. All this shows that Hitler did not want to surrender himself to his prey even when he was dying. So much so that the Soviet soldier could not capture his body and show it to the world as a trophy. That's why he ordered his body to be burned. When the Red Army reached the bunker, they found only burnt remains. But these were Hitler's. This was found after a lot of investigation when they took samples of Hitler's teeth. Hitler hated going to the dentist, so he had built a very unique gold brick that covered his broken teeth. With this bridge, Hitler's body could be identified. I hope you like and share this video. Thank you so much for your lovely comments. See you in the next video.